Welcome back to the Knicks-Verse. My name is George, and today we are going to talk about Julius Randle. That's right, our all-star. The metamorphosis that he has gone through is something truly spectacular, rewarded by the all-star selection. And we're going to go even deeper. We're going to see how phenomenal he has really become and what this can mean for the future of the New York Knicks. Because what is it that we care about? I've said it many times. The ring. We care about the ring. That's all we want. We love basketball. We do. I love watching it. I've been watching the Knicks my entire life, through thick and thin, win or lose, all the disasters, all the triumphs. It's fabulous. But I really, really, really want a ring. I really want a championship. I want confetti streaming down. I want the glory. I want to totally wash away the pain and the agony that we have, as Knicks fans, have been feeling for so many years, through so many losing seasons and so many close calls. There is a blueprint. There is a blueprint for building an NBA championship team. It's out there. We've heard about the big three. We've seen it happen. We've seen it work. Dennis Gallagher wrote an article for 82games.com called Blueprints of an NBA Championship Team. We're going to use all of this content to study if the Knicks have already the key ingredient to move them to the promised land. And that key ingredient might be Julius Randle himself. But before we get to that, let's revel in the moments of 19 and 18. Fantastic. Fantastic. This team has truly, I feel I haven't been happier lately, actually, which seems ridiculous, right? You would think my own life would matter more than this team, but it's enmeshed. It's a part of me, as it is probably a part of you too. So the championship is an important thing for us. Of course, we never expected that to happen this year. That would be totally ridiculous. But now with Julius, 26 years old, playing like a superstar, playing like an all-NBA player, basically, can he take this team to the NBA Finals within the next 2 or 3 seasons? Realistically, let's say 3 seasons. I think it's possible. And we're going to dive in and show you how. All right, well, let's talk about the key ingredients that are needed, the must-haves to turn a franchise into an NBA contender. Now, we're only talking about getting to the finals. And for the Knicks, that means getting through the East. We're not going to focus on any of the other teams, what they're doing, what their strengths and weaknesses are, because in a lot of ways, it's irrelevant. It's irrelevant. What we need is to really test whether Julius Randle is a number one on a contending squad. In the past, or in the very recent past, it's happening right now. What am I going to say? In the past, it was we had the Heat, we had the Celtics before that. OKC had a big three, and then the Cavs, when they got LeBron back, they created another big three. The one common denominator with all those teams, well, except for OKC, those were all draft picks. That was made organically. The Heat, we all remember the decision, and Bosh joining LeBron to go down to South Beach and hang out with Dwayne Wade. But Wade was already there, and he'd already won a championship before with Shaq. So that wasn't like they, signed 3 guys, even though that is the way the story is told. It really wasn't like that. It was basically Dwayne Wade got 2 buddies to come join him on his team. The Celtics, that was a different story, in sense that Danny Ainge and his crew, they studied what were basically the key elements to creating an NBA championship, because they'd gotten close before with Paul Pierce and Antoine Walker. So, but they deciphered, you know what, we really need to do a big three. When they went back and studied history, there was a big three. Showtime Lakers had a big three. Their major rivals, the Celtics, you can say they had a big three. You can even say they had a big four. Even before that, we go way back to our Knicks. Now, you need superstars to win in the NBA. You absolutely do. The question is, does Julius qualify? Does Julius Randle qualify as a superstar? Well, when we pull back the data and see what it is that he's actually already accomplished, where he came from, and we project out where he's going, it's going to be really interesting. It's exciting. It's going to be exciting for Knicks fans, because I think you guys are going to see that we got lucky. We got lucky. 6 months ago, what was the talk? Let's trade this guy. Let's see what we can get for him. Can we get some draft picks so that we can move up the draft and get Cade, because we need franchise players, blah, blah, blah. Well, it wasn't like that wasn't real. I mean, that's basically was the reality. Everybody was disappointed in Julius's performance last season. Julius was disappointed in his own performance. And that's why what he's doing now is so miraculous. I mean, Knicks got lucky. When was the last time that happened to us? When was the last time? Well, in some ways you can say we got lucky twice this year, because we also got Emmanuel Quickley, 25th pick. That's pretty lucky. And some might say, we'll see in a couple of years. Yes, Zion's being a monster, but we'll see. We'll see. RJ Barrett could be the perfect piece player to come to New York and flourish. Yeah. I'm so excited. I'm super excited. What are the key ingredients that are needed for building an NBA championship? What I did is I went back to an article that was written by Dennis Gallagher for 82games.com back in 2006. He had studied I think the previous 30 NBA championship squads, and he arrived at a formula. He called it a blueprint. It was a 3-step process. The first thing that you need to remember is that 92% of NBA champions had a recent All-NBA first team selection. So within the prior 4 seasons, there was an All-NBA player on an NBA championship. Sometimes 2, sometimes 3. But 92% of them had at least 1. There were a few exceptions. The Mavericks. I forgot. There were a few other ones, but not many at all. The next thing is that 81% of NBA champions had a recent all-defensive first team member. So we're really talking about the cream of the crop, the top caliber players. The top 5 or 10 players in the game were all on an NBA championship team. They may not have been playing at that level when they won the championship, but they had that pedigree within them, or they were going to be an All-NBA player within that window surrounding the championship. All right, for step 1, acquire a top 5 caliber player. All-NBA first team in the past 4 seasons. All right, let's go. The next step is acquire a top 5 caliber defender. Yes, an all-defensive first team during their career. Whether it's before or after, but they have the talent to be in the upper echelon. For example, Draymond Green, top 5 caliber defender, and Steph Curry, MVP, top 5 caliber All-NBA player. There you go. And they have Clay. That squad was so stacked. That's why they won 73 games. The next step, step 2, add a championship sidekick or 2. In the Golden State case, they had their championship sidekick that they drafted, which was Klay. He just had to mature and grow into the role, which he did. They also signed Andre Iguodala, who had been an All-NBA player, I believe a second team, and I believe also an all-defensive selection as well. So there you go. You can see the formula taking place there. You need an All-NBA first or second team or all-defensive first or second team in one of the prior 4 seasons. Those are the ingredients that you need. That's step 2. Now, step 3, make sure one of your players, whether it's the superstar or the sidekick, can defend. Yeah, they have to. Hence, last year's Lakers squad, they had two superstars that could defend. LeBron and AD. It's just, you have to have that. That's the one thing that I worry about that other team that's, over there in that borough that starts with a B and ends with an N. Yes. So no team has won an NBA title without a top 10 caliber defender. Pretty fascinating, huh? All right, it's time to analyze whether Julius Randle can be that number 1 player for the Knicks, or whether he's a 1B, the sidekick, or maybe he's not. Let's jump into the numbers. Let's go. All right, so here we're starting with our top tier players table, and it ranks them by PI, win shares, defensive win shares, differential from cleaning the glass, player efficiency rating. This is top 10. It is currently in the top 10 or was in the top 10 last season. Whether they were an MVP, All-NBA first or second team, defensive player of the year, and all defensive first or second team player. So here we go back to the beginning here. Joel Embiid is number 1 in player impact estimate at a 20.9. This stat correlates to wins more directly than any other stat, and it also factors in the player's defensive contribution. 20.9, Jokic 20.3, LeBron 19.4. You can see these are the top players in the game. 18.7 for Luka, Jimmy. Look at Jimmy at 18.7. There's Steph, 17.8, Harden, and then Julius Randle, 16.7. Below him is Bam, Dame, Kev, AD, Beal, Towns, Gobert, Paul George, Chris Paul, and Kyrie rounds out the top 20 at 14.5. Now, that's not the only metric here that shows that Julius is having an All-NBA caliber season. When you look at the win shares, his 4.5 win shares ranks him 11th overall. His defensive win shares of 2.1 ties him with Giannis for 3rd place behind LeBron and Rudy Gobert, 2.5. That's the major difference. Julius is having a tremendous season defensively along with offensive numbers. Now, as you'll see, Julius has never been to the finals. He's not in the top 10 of player efficiency rating. He's like a 20th. He's in the 20 range. His 5.7 differential puts him up in the 76th percentile, which, you can see Bam is at 1.9, Harden 4.3, 4.4. So this is why I've included several different metrics to try and round out who's having an All-NBA season currently. And you can see a lot of these people have already been All-NBA selections, which is what you need for building a championship team. So in my opinion, Julius Randle is having, right now, he's having an All-NBA caliber season. He'll at least qualify for second team, and he might even make second team all defensive the way he's going right now. It's tremendous. The only other player on here that doesn't have any other check mark is Bradley Beal. And interestingly, both first-year All-Star selections, these two. Because even Towns ranked in the top 10 of player efficiency rating last season. He's not in it this season, but he was last season. Paul George, All-NBA, first team. He's All-NBA, a defensive team. Kyrie, he never made it a first team, interestingly. Second team right here. This rounds it out. Other players that are missing from this list that could make a claim are Zion, who's having a tremendous season. Ben Simmons, you can also say, but their pie isn't up into this realm currently. All right, let's move on to the next metric. 538 Raptor table. Here, the wins above replacement, Julius is 8th with a 5.1 score. That's right, 5.1. When you look at his overall Raptor total, it brings him down to 12th, which is still right there, sniffing at the door of the top 10 players in the game. Now in here, you'll see Jamal Murray's up here, some players that weren't on my other list, Fred VanVleet, they're having tremendous seasons, but they have not gotten any other accolades. They're kind of similar in a sense to Julius, that they're on the come. They are making a move up. You can see Jared Allen down here. Very good player. All right, let's go to the next metric. We're going to show the thing that Julius needs to improve upon dramatically is his offensive Raptor score. And we're going to get into how he's going to do that. 538 graph that shows us where Julius lies in relationship to all the other players having tremendous seasons and have had tremendous seasons in the past. So here we go. That's Joel Embiid. He's having an amazing season. You want to be in this top right quadrant here. It means you're a plus offensive and plus defensive player. The pink is the bad. Here's a good offensive player and bad defensive player. Here's a offensively challenged player like you see Miles and Rudy, but excellent defensive players. So in this realm here, so here we have Joel Embiid. We have VanVleet again having a tremendous season. There's Kawhi, LeBron, over here Jokic, and here we have Giannis. You move over here, there's Julius right there. Pretty impressive. And down here we have Jamal Murray also having a very good season. Joe Harris, Jared Allen, Ben Simmons right there. But see how this little move is significant. The question is, can Julius make this move to here? I think he can, because when you look at what he's done in the past 2 seasons, this is where he was last year. And look at the move he's made. So for him to get to here, where Giannis is, it's not that big a stretch. And the way for him to do it is to increase his rim efficiency. That has taken a downturn in the past 2 seasons as he's adopted more of a mid-range game and a 3-point game. So we think that as he evolves as a player and he incorporates his rim efficiency that he had when he was with the Lakers and New Orleans, this move is definitely within reach. We're going to compare Julius Randle to Giannis. But first, look, 23.2 points per game, 11.1 rebounds, 5.5 assists, and there it is, the player impact estimate, 16.7. Very, very, very impressive. All right, so let's compare him to Giannis. And when you look at their stats, they're very comparable. Julius is leading in minutes, even though there's a lot more blue, which indicates leading in that statistical category. But when you look deeper, rebounds, 11.7, 11.1, not that different. Assists, 5.9, almost 6 for Giannis, but look at Julius, 5.5. The turnovers, very similar. Steals, Giannis is up half a steal more per game, which I really want Julius to increase that. His blocks, obviously, that's one thing that Giannis brings to the game. That's something really special that Julius is just not going to give you. And the 29 points per game is pretty phenomenal. Julius is at 23.2, which is also very phenomenal, but it's still almost 6 points shy. And that can be attributed to the amount of free throws. See here, Giannis is taking almost 10.5 free throws per game, making almost 7, but his free throw percentage is only 66.1%, where Julius is at 80.5, which when it comes to playoff time, this is where you want to be. This is going to be a very negative impact in playoff time. Now, where Julius excels, 3-point shooting, almost 41%, and he's taking almost 5 3-pointers a game. He's connecting at almost 2 a game. This is a tremendous stat, and if he can increase this a little more, actually, honestly, if his frequency can stay at around 5, that would be fine. What he needs to increase is his 2-point field goal percentage. This is where 48.3% compared to 55.7%. This is a drastic change right here, drastic shift. If Julius can increase this up to 50, 51, 52%, we're talking no doubt, first team All-NBA player. We are on Cleaning the Glass, looking at Julius's shooting frequency stats right here. Now, as you can see, his field goal percentage when he was with Lakers his last season was a robust 56.6%, which for bigs, that puts him in the 65 percentile rank. It's good. It dropped a little bit, when he went to the Pelicans, but still good. But as you can see how it basically fell off the table when he came to the Knicks last season. And now he's on the recovery with 53.9% field goal percentage. Now, when you look at, this is the percentage of shots attempted, his distribution of shots. All right, so the major change was his rim shots within 4 feet of the basket. In 2017-18, he shot 69% of the time at the rim, which is down this season to 28% of the time. So it's really low. He's shifted that over to the mid-range game, where he's attempted 48% of his shots, and his three-point game, 24% of the time. Now let's compare this to Giannis. All right, this is Giannis's numbers. You can see Giannis, his field goal percentage, 58.5%, which is good, which is, almost 60 percentile. Last season was 59%. Look at that before. Now, for some reason, I had him listed as a forward before. Now he's a big. That impacts your ranking because this is relative to your position. Now, his rim, look at that, 57% of the time he's shooting at the rim. His mid-range game is at 26%, and he's shooting 17% of his three-pointers. Next, we're going to look at the accuracy. Boom. All right. Giannis's three-point accuracy is at 28%, which is not good. That's not good. Here, he's only taken 5 corner threes, so it really doesn't count much. But look at his rim. He's making 79% of his shots at the rim. That's pretty impressive. Back here, when he was in 2016, 17, in 2015, 16, he's at 66%, 69%. That's the area where Julius should be in. And here, we're going to go to see what Julius's numbers were. All right, here's Julius's shooting frequency numbers. As you can see, here's the accuracy. All right, so Julius, right over here, 41% of his threes he's making. It's fabulous. His mid-range game, he's making 47% of this. That's pretty good. You can see it's for 68 percentile rank. His long mid-range game is at 75, so he's really lighting it up from there. But look what's happened to his rim efficiency. It's dropped below 60%. For a big, which they categorize him as a big, I think he's more of a forward, especially now. He's shifted to more of a forward because he's now facing the basket more. He is running the offense a lot more, as you'll see in his assists. So back here, when he was last season with the Lakers, he was at 69% of his field goals at the rim. He was completing. It's dropped 10%. I think once Julius is able to improve his rim efficiency, his field goal percentage will climb, and his overall points per game will climb, and his overall ranking as an All-NBA player will climb. This is the key right here. Getting Julius to be more efficient and productive at the rim. Now, part of this could be attributed to the fact that the paint is often congested because he's not surrounded by shooters. So as the quality of shooting increases around him, it will soften up the paint for him, and hence he should be able to complete at a much higher percentage. There you have it. Julius Randle, all he has to do is incorporate an aspect of his game that he had with the Lakers and the Pelicans and marry it with the new Julius, this all-around master of the universe type Julius. He just needs to increase that efficiency around the rim, and he will no doubt be in the conversation of an All-NBA player every season for many seasons to come, because the mental part of his game is actually the most impressive part. You've read the article, you've read the Players Tribune article, you've seen the interviews. You can see that this is a man who's so in touch with who he is and what he's capable of doing and what is expected of him. He doesn't sound like a guy who is just gonna slip off the table like some guys do. They have like a breakout year and then they can never get back to it. Nope, he does not feel like that at all to me. And his body, he's in incredible shape. He might be, there's an argument that he might be in the best shape of any player in the NBA right now. I mean, he's handling the minute load, and on top of that, he does everything for the Knicks. Leads in scoring, assists, and rebounding. The man is a dynamo. I just don't see any regression really happening with him. He's only going to get better. And that is really good news for us Knicks fans. It's fantastic news. So we got that piece. Now we just got to surround him with the other elements that are needed for the ring. All right, if you enjoyed this, please hit the subscribe button and smash that thumbs up for me and the Knicks-Verse. See you around.